I got my dog a new collar. It was the worst decision I ever made. Submitted by First Tray. It started innocently enough. What's wrong with the dog? What do you mean? He was sitting by my legs, and he looked fine enough to me. I mean, he hasn't stopped scratching himself all day. Marnie scrunched up her nose. It's driving me crazy. He's fine, aren't you, buddy? Jasper stared up at me with his big brown eyes. Healthy as a clam. Just so you know, if I see a single tick on that dog, I'm driving him straight to a shelter. Very funny. It was a bit of an inside joke we had. When I pitched the idea of getting a dog, Marnie was absolutely against it, but the second she saw Jasper, she fell in love with his little beagle face. Now she loves him as much as I do. I scratched his head absent-mindedly, and that was that. Or so I thought. A couple days later, I heard Marnie call me from the garden. She looked up at me triumphantly. I told you. On the floor, next to Jasper's paw, was a small brown tick. It wiggled on its back, its fat belly swollen with blood. I looked at it with a mixture of disgust and morbid fascination. Do you think he has more? Marnie shrugged. I guess. Ticks rarely live alone, don't you think? Nonchalantly, she squished it with her boot. Dark blood oozed out of the tick with a steady trickle. Poor Jas. I rubbed the back of his ears. I'll stop by the pharmacy later today and see if they have anything for it. You do that. Marnie leaned her head against mine, her deep red hair glowing in the warm summer sun. Anyways, I was thinking of planting some sunflowers near the patio. What do you think? I think it'll turn out amazing. The garden, my wedding present for Marnie, was her pride and joy. I kissed her on her forehead. I'll pick up some seeds then, too. I could feel Marnie's smile against my shoulder. I really lucked out with you, huh? You did, I murmured into her hair. You certainly did. For 2 weeks, the ticks refused to back down. We tried everything: tick powder, tick baths, even anti-tick pills, whatever those were. No matter what, we would find Jasper furiously scratching himself day after day. Finally, I decided to turn to the place that always had answers for me: Reddit. I posted on a few dog subs I follow, asking if they had any solutions for Jasper. As the replies started trickling in, I felt my heart sinking. I had tried pretty much everything everyone suggested. Then, about a week after I had posted, I got a reply that piqued my interest. It was by a user called u/Joe_Bluey. He wrote, selling a tick collar. Will work 100% guaranteed. DM me for more details. I was pretty sure it was an ad, but at that point, I was getting desperate. Anyways, I thought to myself, what's the worst that could happen? Me. Hey! I saw your comment on my post and was interested. Is your tick collar still for sale? Joseph Bluey, yes. Selling it for $15 plus shipping. Oh, great. What exactly does the collar do? Uses electronic pulses to paralyze all ticks within a day. They drop off for easy cleanup. Keep it on for 5 days, and eggs will drop too. At this point, I was calling bullshit. At best, it seemed like a worthless gimmick. At worst, it could seriously hurt my dog. I decided to show it to Marnie and see what she thought. To me, surprise, she seemed into it. It's only $15, after all. If it doesn't work, we can just throw it out. Well, I pointed out, $15 plus shipping. She rolled her eyes. Lewis. I just want Jas to get well soon. I feel weird cuddling him, knowing I'm cuddling his parasites too. As disturbing as that is, I agree. So, should I ask him to send it over? Oh, fuck no. I'm not letting some stranger know our address. She frowned for a moment, then thumped the dining table. Ooh, why don't you have it sent over to my office? Like 1,000 people work there, there's no way he can track us down. Sounds good to me, my paranoid little wife. Marnie leaned over the table and fed Jasper a piece of her casserole. You're getting all your ticks off soon, baby, aren't you excited? He thumped his tail in agreement. The collar looked nothing like what I was expecting. It made of hard black metal, thin blue lines outlining it. It was centered with a bright blue cube, positioned to rest right at the nape of the dog's neck. It almost seemed to glow. Though Marnie claimed to feel nothing, I could swear it was warm to the touch. I put it on Jasper, honestly expecting to throw it away within a couple days. As I latched it around his neck, Jas bucked under my arms, whining petulantly. As soon as it was fastened, though, he immediately quieted down. I rubbed his belly. I better not find you dead tomorrow, you hear me? I absolutely could not believe my eyes. I was used to finding 1 or 2 dead ticks on Jasper's bed every other day, but the morning after we put the collar on him, we were greeted with dozens, if not hundreds, of beady little bodies. Each one of them was on their back, tiny legs up in the air. I cautiously pressed my pinky into one. Though it could not have dropped more than a couple hours ago, it was rock hard. As if it had been dead for days. Marnie kissed Jasper's head. Aw, was my little Jaspy really covered in that many? Poor baby. I was stunned. Marnie, don't you think something fishy is going on here? Fishy, how? Like, how do you think the collar works? How could it do all this in one night? She shrugged. Well, whatever it did, it worked, didn't it? I don't know, something about this gives me the creeps. I'm taking the collar off for now. She laughed. Oh, come on now, you big sissy. Jasper's fine, isn't he? The guy said, keep it on for a week, and I really don't want to have to deal with any more ticks. In the end, I relented. Just 4 more days, I told myself. Day 1. Hey, sweetie, when's the last time you cleaned the garden porch? Marnie raised an eyebrow. Oh, does the man of the house think I'm not a good enough housewife? I ignored the jab. Just look at all these dead flies. There couldn't be this many unless the porch hasn't been cleaned for at least a couple of weeks. Well, since you're such a genius, why is there no dirt on the porch? Did the flies lick it away, do you think? Huh, I said. I'm sorry for being pissy. You're forgiven. I would never let Jasper's favorite nap place go uncleaned, anyways. And though I said nothing to her, I worried. Day 2. Hey Lewis, get a load of this. I looked towards where Shane was pointing and instinctively lurched back. Ugh. Shane crouched down. It's dead stiff. Must have been dead for a couple weeks now, by the looks of it. Cautiously, I bent closer. That's a tarantula, isn't it? I've never seen one so big. Me neither, man. It's a real beauty, for sure. He nudged me with his beer bottle. Hey, you should put it up in a nice glass box. Chicks totally dig that. Yeah, I said. I'm sure Marnie would be thrilled to hear that. Still, man, he insisted, think how sick it'll look hanging in your den. You won't find another one like this out in the wild, I can tell you that for sure. I scooped it up and put it in a Tupperware, more to shut Shane up than because I actually wanted it. Shane sat back down on his lawn chair. So, do we have a go for Andaman? I took a seat next to him. Oh, I don't know. Dude. Shane leaned forward. This is Andaman we're talking about. You'll probably like a bit of context here. Shane and I make a living by building vacation homes in exotic locations, built for people who make more money in a month than I'll see in my entire life. It's not the most well-paying job, sure, but it definitely beats slaving behind a desk. Andaman, an island off the coast of India, was our dream job. I had wanted it forever, but something I couldn't quite put into words was holding me back. Shane could sense my discomfort. Think of this. A month in Andaman with the team, we can build 10 houses easy. It's easy money, and it's the place we've wanted to go since we were teens. You in or you out? I took a deep breath. I'm in. Day 3. Hanging out with the crew was one of my favorite parts of the job. There were 8 of us total, most of whom had left their well-paying 9-to-5s to take a chance on our startup. I felt proud knowing that we had done them good. I spent the day with them, laying the finishing touches on our prep work and drinking a few too many beers. Around 7 in the evening, I called it a day and got into the car. I was driving down the interstate, feeling the familiar warm tingle of a good post-drinking buzz, when my phone beeped in my pocket. It was Marnie. Don't forget to pick up Jasper. Shit. Marnie's little niece, Maru, had been begging for a dog for years now. Finally, Maru's mom, Robin, gave in. She promised Maru that if she could take care of Jas for a day, they would think about getting a puppy. I turned the car around, heading to Robin's house. Robin answered the door with tear-stained eyes. What happened? I asked, concerned, and more than a little bit worried. Are you alright? I guess, sniffed Robin. It's just. Snuffles died a couple hours ago. He was playing with Jasper, right as rain, and then when I go to give them their dinners, I find him. He was stone cold. When I told Marnie the news later that evening, she shook her head sadly. Oh, poor Robin. I'll call her tomorrow. But don't you think something's going on here? Isn't it suspicious that it happened the very day Jasper goes over? Oh, You and your theories, Marnie said dismissively. Snuffles was 12 years old, Lewis. Cats die. And she would hear no more of it. Day 4. It was Sunday morning, and I felt too lazy to get out of bed. Marnie, who had the energy of a teenager though she was well into her 30s, was up and about before I was completely awake. I let myself drift away, enjoying the warmth of the sun drifting through the curtains and the familiar weight of Jasper snoring on my belly. A couple minutes later, Marnie shook me out of my reverie. Time to get up, lazy bones. Dinner's getting cold. You're hilarious, Marn. Gimme a second, I'll come give you a hand with breakfast. Marnie gave me a funny look. Lewis, it's 8 p.m. Are you feeling okay? I jolted up, all feelings of sleepiness gone. How is that possible? It couldn't have been more than 10 minutes since Marnie left the bed, yet the skies outside were dark. I looked over at Jasper. The collar around his seemed to glow brighter, mocking me. 2 months later. I entered the airport, full of excitement. The crew and I had spent the most glorious month in India. Living in paradise was an experience I would never forget. The only con was that Marnie wasn't there with me. Our construction site was on an area with absolutely no internet or phone service, and living without any contact with my wife was torture. She had promised to leave me a phone message every single day, and I couldn't wait to hear her voice. I switched on my phone for the first time in a month. You have 9 new messages. Huh. I had been gone for just over a month, and had been expecting quite a few more messages than that. Maybe Marnie got lazy, I told myself, as I played the messages in chronological order. Didn't quite seem like her, though. Beep. Hey there, lover. You must be at the airport by now. I miss you already. Kisses from Jasper and me. I smiled to myself. I missed them more than I realized. Beep. Day 2. Jasper started sleeping on my neck through the night. Guess he loves me more than you now. Ha. I really should be more productive with my time. Maybe make a pure gold statue of you? Thoughts? Beep. Can 1 month pass any slower? I'm literally going crazy here. Making fun of the neighbors just isn't the same without you. Love you forever, babe. Beep. Guess who's wearing your purple silk boxers? And nothing else. If only you were here to see it in person, huh? Beep. It's the weekend. If I look at a single line of code for the next 2 days, I will actually vomit. Oh, by the way, remember Jasper's tick collar? He seemed to be getting itchy around the neck again, so I put it back on him. Remember how paranoid you used to be over it? Oh, good old days. My heart ran cold. I had stowed the collar away in the farthest reaches of a cupboard, vowing never to set eyes on it again. With worry, I played the next message. Beep. Guess what? The sunflowers finally bloomed. Oh, they're absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait for you to see them. Beep. Another uneventful day. I had a bit of a headache this morning, so I popped a few Advil. I miss you. Beep. I didn't go to work today. I just can't pull myself together enough to get up. Ugh. I really hope I get out of this funk soon. Beep. Are you ever coming back home, baby? I've already forgotten what your face looks like. I think I'm going to take a nap now. I'm just tired. So tired. Why do my bones feel so heavy? It was a heart attack, they told me. I had called the police the second I played the last message. The plane ride was the worst 20 hours of my entire life. Everyone dismissed my stories of the collar as the crazed ramblings of a grieving husband. It was just a freak coincidence, everyone told me. Her body was found on the bed, stiff as a board. Her eyes were wide open. I buried her in the garden she loved so very much. People thought I was crazy, keeping my dead wife so close to me, but I liked having her nearby. As for the collar, I cut it to pieces and threw it into a landfill. I vowed that no one should ever face it again. I scoured the internet for Joseph Bluey, the seller of the collar, but he seemed to have disappeared completely. In a way, I was glad. That part of my life was over. 1 month after the funeral. How are you, man? Really? I'm getting better, I said truthfully. Things will never be the same, obviously, but the pain isn't as raw. That's great. Shane clapped me on the shoulder. You had us all worried. Not to rush you, but do you think you'll be up for a construction job in the near future? I'm getting there, I told him. Maybe in a while. He nodded silently. I got up. Gimme a second. I went into the bathroom, not really because I needed to use it but more for a break from Shane. After the seemingly infinite stretch of memorials and services and vigils, I found it near impossible to be around people for more than a few minutes at a time. I closed my eyes, focusing on my breathing. Then, from the den, what the fuck? Shane was staring at something on the wall, mouth hanging open. Jasper was going absolutely crazy next to him. As I got closer, I realized what they were looking at. It was the tarantula. It was wiggling around in its box, thudding its head on its confines with a steady rhythm. Then, with more power than its body could hold, it broke free of the box with an almighty thwack. Its round torso, previously a shiny black, was now the dull green of rotting flesh. Its bright red eyes fixed on me with human-like hate. It reared on its hind legs, ready to attack, but before it could leap forward, I saw a blur in my periphery. It was Shane, holding the decorative samurai sword that hung in my den. With a yell, he brought it down on the spider. And again. And again. As deep purple blood oozed out of its mangled corpse, Shane looked up at me. "What the fuck, man?" And then everything clicked. The message on Reddit. "Within a day, they'll get paralyzed. Not dead. Paralyzed. Not dead." Faintly, oh so faintly, I could hear digging coming from my garden.